Hey friends, it's Laura. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am so glad you're here today. Today I am sharing a scrapbooking layout I made of a Friendsgiving from several years ago, and I absolutely love this photograph of all of us over at one of my friends' house. She was hosting Friendsgiving, and it's just a big group, and it was a great dinner and a great night, and I thought it would be really fun to go back and scrapbook that since I had not previously done it. So you can see I have lots of different papers from my stash out on my table. I am working with different fall themes that I already have in my stash, and I think my color palette for this layout ends up being a whole lot of like wood grain, light brownish, khaki color, cream, and gold, and then also some yellow if I remember correctly. So I grab some of these tiny little pieces of scrap paper that I had in my stash that fit in with these colors that I had in my mind, and I take some leaf-shaped die cuts that I have, and you can see I roll them through my manual die cutting machine there. And you'll see me struggle trying to get the die cut paper out from the metal dies. They are so small and delicate, it's kind of hard to get them out. So I end up having to like drop or throw those metal dies down on my desk in order to get the pattern paper to come off of them. So if you guys have a better suggestion on how to do that without having to buy the fancy tweezer tools, let me know. Otherwise, I will continue to throw my metal dies. I guess I'm not too worried about it. They were pretty cheap, and yeah, I don't think I really own anything so sacred that I'm not willing to compromise it for the sake of a layout. So here I go doing more die cutting here. I'm gonna run this through with several different patterned papers and get all different sizes and shapes and colors and patterns of these leaves. And I think that'll work really well because my photograph that I'm using is black and white. So it's very simple, and I thought I could use a lot of other colors to kind of bring in that fall feeling to the layout since the photograph is in black and white. You can see I have some pastel pink here, and I also pulled in some dark blue. I thought both of those would go really well with this almost winter kind of late fall theme. So you can see that I have started to create a photo mat already with some scrap papers that were in my stash, and I want to center my photograph on my page, and now I'm just starting to build out some clusters using all of these leaves, and I'm really loving how it's looking so far. I'm trying to keep a good balance between the colors and the different size and shape of leaves that I'm using. So you can see if I put a dark blue one up at the top left hand corner, I try to balance that out with a dark blue one of the same size over on the bottom right hand corner, just to give the layout some balance. And I do not end up keeping this, even though I really like how it looks right now. I end up changing it because there's just too much going on across the center of my page and too much blank space at the top and the bottom. So I'm playing around with some patterned paper that I'm thinking I might use to build out my photo mat a little bit more, but I will end up moving all of those leaves and doing this whole process all over again. But first, I'm going to put my title down. I'm using these gorgeous sparkly thickers here, and these I have had in my stash for years. I bought several packs of them, and some of them are like a slightly different gold color than the other ones, but that's just how it goes when you end up mixing several packs of what are supposed to be the same alphabets together, because when they print it or whatever, sometimes it ends up being like a slightly different shade of color than all of its sister packs. So that's what I've got going on here, and my title will end up saying Friendsgiving when I finish it, but I realized Friendsgiving is quite a long title, so I needed to move those leaves, and you can see I did that to create space for my title, and then I decide I'm actually going to start gluing down all of my leaves before I finish my my title there. So I have this diagonal pattern going on with the leaves now across the page from the bottom left-hand corner of the page to the top right-hand corner of the page. And using a diagonal design on my layouts is something I do quite frequently. It's very common for me. I tend to do it when I'm embellishing. I do it especially if I use any animal elements like butterflies or birds on my page. I tend to go in a diagonal pattern similar to this, and it's just a tried and true method for me. So I used liquid glue to glue down lots of those flowers there. Not flowers, they're leaves. My leaves were too delicate, so I end up using glue to get most of them down onto my page here. And I wanted to add some sparkle because I thought that would bring in some of the glitter from my title over to those leaves and kind of make the page a little bit more cohesive and a little bit more fall themed. So I'm adding these really cute yellow and orange rhinestone self-adhering sequin rhinestoney things that I have in my stash, and I put those all along my leaves there and I pile them up, and I think that adds like this really fun element to the leaves and makes them more interactive and visually interesting and adds that girly sparkle to it. And then I realized that the top left-hand corner of my page now is super naked and feels like it doesn't quite fit in, and I ended up piling up so much stuff on the two corners of my page that the other ones feel very empty. So what I'm doing now is going through some different little scraps here. You can see they're quite small, and I'm just thinking of things I could layer up in order to give something to that top right-hand corner of the page that did not have anything on it before. And I end up using this cute little remember tag that I had and a giant gold paper clip to put it down onto the page. And then I'm also going to take some of that same teal patterned paper. I believe that is from Maggie Holmes Flourish, so that's a couple years ago now. And I take some of that I had layered under my remember tag or card that I put in the top left-hand corner of the page. I take some of that teal paper and put it down on the bottom left-hand corner of the page. And I mean, it's kind of just floating there. It doesn't really have a home or a reason for being there other than that it balances out the page and makes sure that I do not have a naked corner on my page, because I felt like it was really off balance when I had it looking like that. So this is how the page came together and what it ends up looking like. I really love all those rhinestones and the sequins. I think they make the page super fun, and you can see all the detail on these die cut leaves when we get to the close-ups here. So gorgeous, and I love it. And I did a tiny bit of journaling to write down the year that this happened, because the photograph is from years ago, and I just love how it turned out. I especially love that gold foiled paper. I think it's so beautiful. So I hope you've enjoyed this fall layout with me. I have more headed your way in the next few days. I hope you will give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below if you liked the layout, and catch you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you later. Bye!